You're joining us, former director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and former commissioner of the Federal Trade Commission, Rohit Chopra. Rohit, were you surprised that the justices were taking into account what it would mean, economically speaking, to allow the president to do this?
Yeah, it was a little bit weird, and it makes me think that the court has repeatedly allowed the White House to essentially dismantle agencies, firing commissioners of independent agencies, the Federal Trade Commission and others. But now it seems like they're getting a little bit choked up about what he might do to the Federal Reserve Board. And honestly, there are consequences of the court allowing all sorts of this type of mischief. I really think, Katie, no matter how this court decides, it's probably not going to change the fact that the White House will still probably seek to bully, intimidate, and knock people off the board so that they can get control. They have launched a criminal investigation against Jay Powell. Another Fed governor mysteriously resigned. The vice chair of the Fed preemptively stepped down. I think we're already past the point where even if this court rules in Lisa Cook's favor, what is really going to stop Donald Trump from trying to infiltrate the Fed so that he can wield those powers for himself?
All right. So talking more broadly about the Fed, Jerome Powell only has a few months left. He's supposed to leave the chairmanship, at least, or leave the chair in May. Likely that he will still remain on the board of governors, which I'm assuming the Trump administration would not be happy about. But in terms of a replacement for Jerome Powell, can we be confident that anybody the president replaces him with is not going to feel the pressure, because Trump has been so public about what he wants, to do as the president says?
No, I think essentially he's already said out loud that he expects any of his Federal Reserve nominees to be loyal and to be able to implement what he wants. That is really what their view is. And honestly, I know there's a lot of discussion about interest rates and juicing the economy. There's lots of other huge powers the Fed has that can be used to reward friends and punish enemies. What if the president's family wants to get, they're creating a crypto company? Will they demand that the Fed give that company preferential access to the payment system? For his enemies, will he be able to use the Fed to debank a company or to stop them from being able to access credit? So I don't really know how this will play out, but it seems like a lot of the damage has been done, and there needs to be work to put this genie back in the bottle.
There are other people on the board, as I just mentioned. So how much power would a chair really have? And could these rates get cut just because the president wants them to be? If he has one more appointee on the board, does that mean that the other governors, there would be enough governors to, manipulate interest rates as the president sees fit?
Yeah, so markets believe that he has three pretty strong loyalists already on the board. If he gets a fourth, that would be a majority. Of course, there's others who also vote on interest rates. But look, some people in the markets already feel that the board is already acquiescing to the president. We saw a number of really suspicious actions, including approving the merger of Capital One and Discover, redoing some of the rules that many of those same governors had previously voted to strengthen. So it looks like they are already kowtowing to him. And in some ways, the court may be able to stop this, but they may provide a roadmap for him to push out others at the same time.